Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. This is episode 212, recorded at the Colorado Three Gun Championship, where I discuss Patrol Division with Nick Ingmire and Garrison, England. This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the Three Gun Show, and I'm with Tina Martin-Nims from Team Breda, and we are going to learn about choke selection.
So before you go out to the match, you want to make sure that you have an understanding of how what your chokes are patterned at. So what I like to do is I have my three main chokes that I usually use, which is a spreader, an IC, an improved cylinder, and a mod. And I set my targets out at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And it's just like a knockover steel and a flipper. And I test to see what how they perform at those distances with the ammo that I typically use. And so when I go out onto a stage, I already know that at, say, 35 yards, I can use my mod choke and knock it out, and I'll be all ready to go.
Awesome. All right, well, that's your tech tip from Tina Martin-Nims of Team Breda. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at bredausa.com. That's BREDA. Thank you for joining me here on the Three Gun Show, the world's largest three-gun podcast. This show is purpose-built for you to learn about practical shooting while you're on your commute, at the gym, or even at work. Every single Wednesday, there is a new episode waiting for you to download, listen to, and learn. So be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast player, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, etc. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to like all the things. And for those of you that want to keep the shows flowing in the future, support the Three Gun Show on Patreon. You can find links to all that stuff at threegunshow.com/episode 212. A few days ago, I got out to shoot with some great friends that are not competitive shooters, so I brought out a bunch of fun guns to share. We all shot the IWI Tavor X95 in both 9mm and 5.56, which had the new Vortex Crossfire and UH-1 Huey on them, respectively. Everyone took a turn with the Breda B12IS, tuned up by Hayes Custom Guns, and we played a little game of horse with 22s, and I brought out my first gun, a Ruger 1022 that I mentioned in the last episode, which is now sporting a Magpul stock and a Vortex Venom red dot. Everyone really liked the dots. They're super easy to use. And we had a good time. In the last podcast, I encouraged all of you to get out to the range and make some memories. And I did just that. And it was exactly what I needed. While I was out there, I also got to shake down the gear I'll be using for the Big Ben Blast and Dash presented by Vortex Optics, including my home-built lightweight truck gun with the Vortex Razor 1-6E mounted on top. I'm helping out organize this 3K and 5K run and gun that will be at the Ben Lomond Gun Club in Colorado on October 13th. And we've been fortunate to partner with a great charity in Shield 616 that will benefit from this match. Plus, we have some incredibly generous sponsors that are sending us cool gear for the prize table. That's right, a prize table at a small little run and gun. We're very excited about that. The aforementioned Vortex Optics has sent us 1 cubic yard worth of awesome prizes. And LAG Tactical has sent us a whole box of mag pouches as well. You still have time to sign up and train, and there's a link in the show notes at threegunshow.com/episode 212. The race is going to be a ton of fun. We're going to have a great time. So sign up and join me if you're into that kind of thing. The weekend before the Blast and Dash, I'll be shooting the Red October Kalashnikov Championship in St. George, Utah. Shot this one last year. Really great match, a lot of fun. Looking forward to it this year. As you know, I've partnered with IWI to shoot the match with their Galil Ace and bring the great content back to you. I'm putting the final touches on an install series for several great parts to make this one fun open gun. So make sure to subscribe to the 3 Gun Show YouTube channel so you can see that video when it comes out. Now, on to this week's show. There was a fun new development in multigun at the 2018 Colorado 3 Gun Championship as 18 competitors geared up to compete in Patrol Division. I'm going to read a portion of the division rules that match director Kevin Travis put together that outlines the intent very well. Quote, "The goal of this is to not be stupid restrictive, but to still have a completely different division than limited, still be encouraging to new shooters, and be a place for military and police to exercise their duty gear, as well as new shooters who have defensive gear at home." End quote. Pretty straightforward. On the podcast are Garrison, England, and Nick Ingmire, who both shot on the same squad and in Patrol Division with me at the Colorado 3 Gun Championship. We discussed the ins and outs of Patrol, how we prepared our gear, our mind, and our strategies for the game. We also have a few ideas for improving the division while maintaining the initial vision and spirit as well, coming from the perspective of folks that shot it in the championship. This division presented some special challenges for me, and it was fun to fight through them and think about the game from a completely new perspective rather than just the straight-up tac ops that I normally shoot. We also had an incredible amount of fun with several months of friendly trash talk leading up to the match, which just that alone was worth the price of entry. Changing divisions has been a hot topic this year, and we have a lot of thoughts on it, so enjoy this interview with Nick Ingmire and Garrison, England. Guys, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Okay, so let's set the stage here. Colorado 3 Gun Championship. We're sitting here in the room. Prize table is being assembled, and I'm here with Nick Ingmire. Nick,
hey,
welcome back, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man.
And Garrison, England.
Dave, it's always good to be here.
And we are here to talk about Patrol Division.
The Patrol.
The Patrol Division. So all three of us shot in the same squad. We shot Patrol Division. We had to jump 17 squads to get on the same squad and and be able to do this, but we put it together. We all shot the same division, which was a ton of fun. And we all did it for various different reasons that we'll get into here. But for people that are uninitiated, let's describe what Patrol Division is. Garrison, do you wanna go first?
I will describe it. The Patrol Division is you have to shoot a pump shotgun capped at 8 with +1. The pistol can be a striker fire, double action, single action, no double stack, single action onlys.
It can also be a single stack.
Oh yeah,
single
stack,
action.
Yeah, that just didn't seem relevant to me. So
yeah, well, at the last minute I tried to game it with that one, but didn't work.
And then the rifle is pretty much a standard rifle with mags capped at a 30 round and a fixed magnification. So either a 1X or a 3X or a 4X ACOG or anything you would see. I personally used a Vortex 1X.
Yeah, Spitfire.
Yeah, Spitfire. Thank you.
Yeah, there's we're sitting next to a bunch of Burris stuff. I was looking. There's an AR 536 Prism sight over there, which is a 5X fixed magnification, so that would fit. Vortex has like a 3X Spitfire that would fit. I know someone shot this match with a 3X Spitfire, so we'll have to track him down and figure out how he liked it. Nick, what did you shoot the match with?
The Trijicon MRO.
Okay, and then let's talk gear, because gear is kind of controversial on this one. So first of all, there's a lot of people that were a little bit butthurt about the no double stack single action pistols, because that just only eliminates 2011s.
Yeah, free the 2011.
I can't think of anything else that. And I mean, if you're gonna. Okay, sorry, we're getting off on a tangent already, but.
It also eliminated my open gun because I have a limited slide for it, but it's converted to single action only. So,
okay.
So I was shooting a whole different pistol this time.
Oh, gotcha. So what did you shoot? Talk about the 3 guns that you shot with.
I shot my CZP9.
Okay.
They're 22 round mags, but we had to dial down to 15.
Right.
So
we forgot to mention that one.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So brought plenty of
15
mags.
round mags.
Yep. Just shot my normal Seekins rifle with the stretch barrel with an MRO, and then a Benelli pump.
All right. And you borrowed a Benelli. Is it a Nova or Supernova? Supernova last minute from our buddy Mike.
Last minute.
I need my 3 dummy shells back, by the way.
Right. Which, first shots of the match was with a gun that I've never shot before. So
yeah.
And it's got an extra long pump because of the Magnum chamber. So
yeah, 3.5-inch chamber. Yeah. Garrison, what was the setup that you went with?
For shotgun?
For the whole deal.
The whole match, I shot a CZ Shadow 2 with a lot of Cajun Gunworks parts and some help from the boys over at Ben Stoker's Pro Shop. Helped me get it outfitted out, and a little love and respect from the Hayes Custom Guns guys.
First sale cheap, by the way, because it's all used up now.
I also have for shotgun, I shot a Hayes Custom Guns Benelli Supernova with the King Competition short action bars put in it. And then my rifle was a 2A armament rifle that I shoot all the time in TAC Ops with an 18-inch barrel with a Vortex red dot on top and all fed by Highland Lakes ammunition.
Awesome. So I shot my 18-inch 3-gun rifle, and I had the Vortex Razor AMG UH-1 Huey on top, which is interesting because it's a holographic sight, not something I have like a ton of experience on.
Sure.
And it was, it's the Spitfire, which is what you were shooting, Garrison, is what people say is the proper Vortex optic for the game.
I will agree 100%.
Yeah, so I was trying it out with the Huey, and it's been a ton of fun to shoot that one. As far as shotgun, I had Breda doesn't have a pump right now, so I had to do a Stoker, or I didn't have to. I had to do something else, so I went as cheap as possible, and I got a secondhand Stoker P3000 from a friend who really helped me out on that one. Borrowed a magazine tube for it, and then cut up the port, cut the hand grip and stuff like that. Put some skate tape on there, which I don't recommend on the pump grip portion.
Yeah, your fingers a little raw.
Yeah. Dude, you should see my shotgun. It's like streaked with blood everywhere.
Hey man,
it's
hilarious.
Character. It does. There's blood from the trigger guard all the way to the front of the port, all over the side of the.
I'm glad we didn't borrow guns.
Yeah, exactly. You still want to buy that gun? And then I shot my normal Glock 34 that Mod 1 Armory, or excuse me, Mod 1 Firearms hooked up for me. So those are like the basics, right? Those are, and of course, downloaded my mags to 15 rounds, 30 round P mags. Somehow we snuck in coupled mags, although Kevin didn't want us to do it. He's like, I forgot to put that in the rules, so you get it, you win on that one. Yeah. And then of course 8-round pump shotgun. So so that, folks, is the basis of Patrol Division. It's a new division that is being shot at SoCo 3-Gun, which is a local club match here in Colorado Springs. And then SoCo 3-Gun is also the same or Pikes Peak Gun Club, the same venue SoCo 3-Gun uses for Colorado 3-Gun Championship. So of course Kevin put that out there as a tester. If there's enough people that sign up for it, we'll have it at the state match. And I want to say there were 16 people in our division.
I didn't count them, but there was more than I expected to be there.
Yeah.
15 or 16.
For a new division with a lot of gear restrictions.
A lot of gear restrictions.
Excuse me, there was 18, but 17 shot. So.
Okay, yeah, so 18 people signed up for it, which is great. That's about what you would expect in like limited, right? So basically this match had 2 sort of limited divisions and kind of,
I would say this division is far from limited.
We'll get to that.
More limited.
Exactly. It's way more limited. WML. There you go. We'll call that. So so that's like the origin here, and that's why we shot this, or that's why we're here talking about this. I think we all shot it for different reasons. Garrison, I think yours is kind of interesting. Let's start with you.
So this year, in the Hayes Custom Guns camp, we travel together, we shoot together, we do all those things. So we are trying to field more people in more divisions. So, we talked about doing each of us going to a division. So I chose Patrol. Daniel Jurassic is obviously in TAC Ops. Aaron is in Limited, and then Jarrett Halbert is in Open. Mm-hmm. So we just
and Stephen Lee when he
Stephen Lee when he's here. Well. He wasn't here this time, but
right.
So we've been trying to spread out a little bit and try to see if we can, try to get, I guess more wins out of it.
This is something I've seen a lot of teams do over the last 3 years. It seems like everyone starts out in TAC Ops, and then they kind of fan out a little bit like, oh, I'm competing with my teammates. This doesn't make any sense.
Oh, and that's definitely it. So the origin of this is basically the Vortex Shooter Source 3 gun. I was going to shoot heavy, and then I just didn't have time to get all my gear ready, so I just stayed in TAC Ops. Well, if I would have stayed in heavy and I would have had as successful match as I did shooting in TAC Ops, I most likely would have won the division, and a Hayes custom gun shooter would have won every division. So I felt like I let the team down, so I wanted to come here and try to rebuild on that.
Right. So any sort of hazing or like shaming, Garrison? You got to shoot Patrol Division kind of thing?
No, nothing like that. Actually, I made the decision on my own. It was actually, sometimes we shoot a lot of TAC Ops. It can get a little stale. So it was nice to shoot something different. Now, the pump is not my favorite thing to do. Like, I'm terrible at it. But
this is true.
But, I built a new pistol for it and just kind of tinkered with something. It gave me something to tinker with and whatnot. So I actually chose the Patrol Division, was like, hey, this is going to be fun. We kind of got on the internet and we're talking a lot of trash back and forth, and we got it built up to, to be a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had a division jumping podcast, which I'll link to in the show notes. If you haven't heard that one, better go check it out, because I kind of outline what I think of the ideal gear setup would be for a Patrol Division, and then talk about what I was going to do for it. So, Nick, why did you shoot Patrol Division?
I got voluntold. No. Well, originally when I started out in this game, I started shooting limited, and I loved it. But when I got on to TraderCon's Pro Team, they sent me a whole bunch of scopes. Well, there's not much you can do in limited, So I jumped to open, and I've been shooting open for a year and a half, 2 years now. And when Kevin Travis told me he was doing this, it was interesting to me. Never shot heavy, never ran a pump in a match or anything. Well, except maybe my first match, I shot an 870.
Yeah.
My very, very first match. So I like the idea of it. And, we shot one Patrol Division at a local match here before I moved away. And so I figure, screw it, I'm going to shoot it when I come back, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice. Yeah. Nice, yeah. So I'm kind of the same thing. So Kevin Travis, match director of SoCo 3-Gun, Colorado 3-Gun Championship, is a friend of mine, wanted to support something new that he's doing, also something interesting to talk about on the podcast. So that's what I was doing. And then also when I decided to make this or decided to shoot this division, I didn't have my Breda at the time. So I was like, well, I might as well, because now I have the Breda, and it's like I'm practicing with both. So it was kind of a mess going into this. But
that's another thing. I'm in between open shotguns right now, so it's like, I'm going to quad load anyway, so we're going to try it out.
Nice. Yeah, the intent of the division is interesting. So Colorado Springs here has several military bases, Army, Air Force, etc., and obviously law enforcement. We have several law enforcement guys that come and shoot with us, and some of them are actually really good. But we noticed that, or Kevin noticed that a lot of law enforcement that comes and shoots and military don't stick around. And part of it is that old saying of like, well, this isn't practical. I can't use this. Sure. So Kevin tried to create a division that could be shot with patrol gear, and that's why it's called Patrol Division, right? The other intent is that it's new person friendly.
Sure.
Do you think Patrol Division, after shooting this match, is new person friendly?
Absolutely not.
Nick?
Gear-wise, yes.
Gear-wise,
I do agree with that. Gear-wise, 100%. Stage planning and all the other things that go related to that, it is a thinking man's game. And it would be hard for a new person to come up and understand like where they need to load and how they need to load.
Yeah.
So the shotgun cap makes it really hard.
Shotgun cap makes it really hard.
Yeah.
So one of the hardest things for new people to do is to load the shotgun, and putting that cap on it makes it really difficult. I honestly think like an improvement on this could be. Was you that was talking about pump versus semi?
Yeah, we talked briefly about it. And I floated the idea how it would be okay if you did a auto capped at 8 plus 1, and then or a semi, or not semi. I'm sorry, a pump. I might have said that backwards. But
No,
a
you
pump,
did it right.
Okay, a pump
With no limit.
with no limit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually even float the idea if you just let them start full.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, an auto and
Well,
a
and
pump is
I-
still going to be, so you might as well give them the 12 rounds and
Right.
it'll work.
Well, since then, I was talking to Len Wynn of Dissonant Arms, and they're talking about bringing modified division back, right? Which you can have a red dot, and then load to I think it's 13 plus 1 or 12
Well,
plus 1 or whatever.
it's all about,
It's length,
Well,
but
it's
it
length,
ends up
yeah.
being 12
I'm not
plus
100% sure.
12 plus 1 plus ghost load
yeah,
is 14, right?
yeah.
So you start out with that many in the gun, and that is new person friendly. You don't have to load nearly as much.
Right.
But then, of course, you're talking about like semi-auto shotgun, kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, the stages that we were shooting, the amount of shotgun targets, the amount of pistol targets made it difficult to manage
The shotgun stage was brutal with a pump.
shotgun. Yeah, that's when I looked down at my port and I'm like, why is there blood all over my shotgun?
Yeah.
Well, if you ain't bleeding, you ain't trying. So.
And so what do you think, Nick?
um,
So not new person friendly, but what do you think?
I do. I think it is on a local level.
Yeah.
And everybody should have a Glock 19, A70 or a 500, in your rifle and come out and play. I see a lot of new guys that ask a lot of questions. What do I need to get before I come out there? What's the, I got to buy a semi-auto shotgun or I got to buy the latest, greatest pistol or whatever. It's just grab what you have in the safe that everybody has and come on out and play.
And that's what I did.
Right.
I had a Mossberg 500, Glock 17, and just a normal M4 with 30-round magazines. I didn't have any of the high Zoot gear stuff, and I guess it does make sense from that standpoint to come out. But why can't you just do that in like limited or TAC?
I mean, you could, but a lot of guys will come out, they'll see their first match, and they say, hey, all these guys have this gear, they're outrunning me. I don't know if I can compete. A lot of guys don't come back.
Their ego gets hurt.
Yeah.
There was a match outside of where I live in Leander that was close to a military base, and you'd get guys that come out, and sometimes you would think you would see. Now some guys have a blast, and the other guys sometimes their feelings would get hurt when a guy, not to my own like me, who practices all the time, and this is all I do, just goes out there and does work. And
This is all you do for hobby, is what you're saying.
Yeah. This is all I do for hobby.
Right.
And they're used to like a military tactical kind of world, and
Right.
and it sometimes it's offending to them. Like I've seen some people leave really mad.
It's the same thing out here. Well, like at our old local club, a lot of the law enforcement come out, and you never see them again.
Yeah, you remember that time we had like I think it was Weld County Sheriff came out. They came out in like all their kit, like they had plate carriers on and magazines, and on the chest rig and things like that, full camouflage and stuff, and they shot a 3-gun match, and we never saw them again. This is an entire unit too.
Yeah, and I remember some of them when they were going to reload were going behind cover, reload, and then coming back out. And we're like, this is a game, just go fast. But tactics in a game are different.
Completely. Yeah. So, and I remember they were all sharing one semi-automatic shotgun, but I can see the intent of the division. How like, okay, well, you carry a pump shotgun in your cruiser, just bring that.
Right.
Right. I can see that, but and maybe it is suited more to a local level, but this particular match, I felt like it would have been more difficult to run Patrol Division than it would have been to run Limited.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Especially the all shotgun stage, there was a lot there that we were like, no Patrol Division was in mind when this was drawn up. Double toaster, like. All right.
We all got the double toaster though, didn't we?
I snuck it when it came right out, so.
Oh, that's right.
I wasn't playing around.
You doubled it, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah. You got the double toaster, didn't you?
Did not. I
No?
missed one.
Oh man.
I short stroked it right as I shot it. Pow! It flew up, and I short stroked the second shot, and it hit the ground before I shot.
Oh, you didn't get the easy one?
No, I shot when it went up. I went for the high one, not the short one.
Right.
First, and I was like, that was dumb.
Yeah, it was. So, the pistol, okay, let me back up real quick. So USPSA rules.
Mm-hmm.
If there's like revolver or single stack division, there's a limit to the number of targets that can be in an array to give those people time to reload, right? Do you think was that kind of rule of thumb applied here?
No, I did a lot of standing reloads this match.
You could find places to do a reload,
Right.
but there were sometimes I was like, well, I better drop this half full mag because I don't really have much room, so I better top off. And like I said, you had to really think about where you wanted to do reloads, and I found myself sometimes shooting like 4 targets and doing a reload.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That actually. So I don't think that's very new person friendly because now you have to have like 17 mags, especially like on the all pistol stage. Like I think I brought 7 mags with me and I walked away with 1. You know.
I don't really want to talk about the opposite.
But so yeah, so there's that portion of it. It's like, okay, yeah, you are limiting the capacity, but now they have to buy 7 magazines to shoot 1 pistol stage or borrow them. If they have like a common pistol. However, the additional thought and planning that went into every stage, I actually really enjoyed. It was a nice departure from what we normally do of like, okay, as soon as I pick up my shotgun, I'm going to stuff 4 in there and then I'm going to shoot everything.
Right.
Well, there was a good amount of options. So there's pistol shotgun options.
Yeah.
So I had to weigh, okay, do I want to put in more quad loads or do I want to just go ahead and shoot a pistol? There were other things that I did like the planning side of it, but I will tell you right now, when the wheels fall off, they fell off quick,
and they don't come back.
You just start improvising, especially on the shotgun. Like if you start throwing a few mics, or whatnot, you're like, well, how many's in this gun? You just start stuffing until it stops.
Well, and that's my impression with the pistol. I mean, you can plan your loads and you can, have your stage set up how you want it, but drop 2 or 3 and all of a sudden everything's out the window.
Yeah. And we. A lot of times with like 22-round, 23-round magazines, what is your 2011 fit?
24 in some mags, 23 in others. Depends on the spring life.
What do you typically shoot?
On my CZ, on my open gun, it's 24.
Okay.
And then
so then you're talking about shooting, half a magazine, dropping it, and moving on.
Right.
Well, half a magazine is a significant portion of the 15 rounds allotted. So if you have 5 mics or 5 pickups or something like that, now you're in a little bit of a problem.
Yep. A little bit of a pickle.
A little bit of a pickle. I was going to say that, but it sounded dumb.
I got you.
And so I didn't find that big of a deal with rifle magazines though, because obviously 30 rounds is a lot.
I'm a firm believer in you should, mandatory rifle reloads, should be in matches. Like, no one practices that, and it's kind of you'll see it when people go, oh, shit, I got to reload, and then it's sticking and they're fumbling because no one practices it.
Especially now with, like, D60s and TAC ops and air quotes limited.
Right.
Then which, can't do it this match, but it pretty much has taken the reload out of the game.
Sure.
Out of the rifle game, anyway.
I found myself today on the rifle. I went for a reload and just missed the bolt close and pulled up, and I go, oh crap!
Yeah,
close the bolt.
I'll tell you what I did. So I had to borrow a rifle on a stage because mine went down, and I've got the Noveske lower on the rifle I'm shooting now, which has like the wider magwell.
Didn't have a magwell on it.
It didn't have a magwell. I was shooting Aaron's rifle, and as I was pulling the mag out and trying to stuff it in there, I remember like it wouldn't fit. I hit the left side, the right side, and the front, and then finally got it in there. But I was staring at the whole time, and in my head I was like laughing that I couldn't get in there. But I was also thinking like, is that a Hayes Custom Guns logo on this AR-15?
And it was.
It was, yeah. It was a weird thought to have though while I was like trying to load the magazine on the clock.
I didn't mind the reload, the rifle. Actually, the rifle mags are the one thing I didn't mind at all. The only thing
I know, because you have like 30 rounds, right?
Yeah, I didn't. That was the one part I thought. So I shoot prone off of 40 just because of the way I'm shaped, and so the only thing I wish I could have done is like plug a 40,
right?
So I could have that distance. That was. I had asked Kevin, and
part of the rules were 30 round only, no base pads, no.
You can have a base pad
if they don't add capacity.
They didn't add capacity.
But find me a base pad that doesn't add capacity.
Exactly. So I had to make some contraption. It's
ugly too.
It is ugly. I didn't put.
It's like a 2x4
So it's a 2x4, a 30-round magazine with a 2x4 on the bottom that has 2 30s taped to the sides of it.
I would argue that was a bipod, but he didn't use it in the match. So
I
didn't have to.
because the one place to go prone out was that trailer, and I was afraid it was going to be too tall, so I just shot off a 30.
With that bar being over that, you were.
Yeah. And I really wanted you to use that because I was so ready to be like, all right, let's get the range master over here. Tell me this is a bipod.
Wrong.
Are you kidding me? Did you see that thing? Please send me a picture of that so I can put it in the show notes.
I have sent you a picture of it.
Oh, you have, haven't you? All right, I'll dig that up. It is the most horrid thing you've ever seen.
It was made in 5 minutes the day before we left, and you can tell it's been made in 5 minutes.
And I admire you for trying to recreate the 40-round magazine, but that's actually we should get a ruling from Kevin before we go here.
Before, if it would have been legal.
Is that a bipod?
Yeah, well, technically, it's. I mean,
let's do that.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I didn't use it, so we can.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to talk to him about
it'll be fun.
Yeah, I did. I didn't find it. You know, the reloads. I don't sweat rifle reloads. My 2A rifle has a huge mag well on it, made from the factory. So, the one place I think I'm trying to think how many reloads I did. I think I did one on the 2 on the clock, but one was like in a big run in the long distance stage. So that one was kind of just a gimme. And then the other one I did on the all rifle stage, that one had to be fast because it happened like right in front of a piece of paper that I wasn't expecting. I was like 2 rounds short. I doubled a paper target, and I was like, oh. But
yeah, that's the one I had the problem with when I was noticing Aaron's rifle.
I was going to go coupled there, and I realized that was going to be more of a problem, so I just went from the belt.
Why would that be more of a problem?
Dude, I struggle with a couple. Well, so another thing that happened is
you do too.
Yep.
Is now if I'm like running over like have plenty of time but like fast, I struggle. And then another thing I notice is as I shoot,
the round comes
forward, and then you're like, that doesn't work anyways.
Yeah, what I've found is that downloading it by one and then rocking it in like an AK mag usually alleviates that problem, unless more than like 40% of that round is sticking out the front, and then you just got to strip it out.
Well, that was like so when I was on the long distance stage, when I was running from the super awesome swing to running over to the other side, like it was like halfway out, and I actually was running, took it in and like flicked it with my thumb, so I could get it off there, so I could put it in the gun.
I know there's a couple companies out there that make like a rail-mounted stop for that, kind of like they do with the coupled shotgun mags and stuff to keep that from happening.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to say Beasley does, but
interesting.
Don't quote me on that.
I'll have to take a look for that. That would be super helpful. Because every time I do that, I'm like throwing $1 on the ground.
Right.
Because the only time I use coupled is when we're shooting long range, or in this match when we had the hoser. I figured I would bring 90 with me, just in case.
I mean, I had 90. They were just in 3 separate mags.
Yeah, I only brought one on the belt. Yeah, and okay, so that brings up another thing is belt management. You know, when you're talking about like longer stages or stages where you think like, oh, I'm going to shoot pistol here instead of shotgun. Now you've got to have like extra mag caddies too, you know, mag pouches.
Majority of the time, I ran 4 caddies of shotgun, even if I really didn't need them, just in case. And then I ran on most stages 3 pistol mags. And then 1 rifle in the back as a backup. So it did have a lot of gear on the belt.
Yeah, for something that's like trying to save new people from buying gear, it might be like a lost cause or a false economy. That's what they call it. You think you're saving money, you're not. False economy. Because if you're not buying it, a Glock 34 with 22 round mags, you're buying extra mag pouches.
I mean, I bought 5 CZ mags.
Yeah.
They weren't. I mean, they're not a 2011 mag. Thank God they're not that expensive, but they weren't cheap.
They're still not cheap.
Yeah.
Right. But you went like full on like super gamer with that. Like the Dave wish list of gamer gear to bring was.
Yeah, Dave, you put it on the internet and I followed it. I won't lie. When I originally talked about going into patrol with Aaron, I was like, man, what pistol would I shoot? And we threw the idea out that we'd a CZ. So I talked to some friends that have a CZ, and they said the Shadow 2s, the Cat's Meow, and then I found your post on 3 Gun Talk about which gun you should talk, and I was just like, I saw like 200 people said a Shadow or CZ75, I think is what they said, and then so I just went full ridiculous on it. I got the gun through a friend thank you to CZ who helped me out there. And then the Cajun Gunworks makes a pretty awesome kit, like with all the springs to make it lighter, a tighter bushing for the barrel.
Right.
And I did it all in my house. And then
Some Dremel required.
only things, not so much as the install of the springs and the parts.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just little things that rub me in weird places that that rub me in weird places and were like making weird calluses on my hands.
Right.
So it wasn't. Some dremeling was required, but it wasn't like I didn't like cut like half the frame off or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, so Garrison and I have been having like this, 2-month-long exchange once I discovered that you were shooting.
Yeah,
Patrol.
I kind of kept kind of quiet for a while.
Yeah, he kept kind of quiet, and then I got a text from Kevin one time, said like Garrison's been asking 1,000 questions about the match. I'm like, well, he's such a gamer. I didn't even think about it. Yeah. But then you came out of the Patrol closet to me after I released that episode, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. And then you started telling me what the gear you had was, and so I decided like, well, okay, the only way that I'm gonna I don't know, the only way I'm gonna beat him here is if I perform a massive disinformation campaign and destroy his mental game. And so because he's got the nice CZ and everything, and he's shooting the proper optic for it. Garrison's like having a conniption over here. We'll get to it.
I got a text, so
we'll get to it in just a moment. But the don't set that on the cord. It'll make noise.
Sorry.
That's okay. It'll make noise when you get text. But
it's silent, like full silent.
Okay. There's still a radio signal.
Okay,
trust me.
This is your business. I understand.
But where were we? Disinformation campaign. Yeah. So anytime Garrison would say like, "Hey, do you ever have any problems short stroking shotgun?" Whether I was or wasn't having problems, he was like, "Nah, man, that's weird. It must just be you."
So, with that said, I would send him things just to hear the response after a while because it was a good time. So one time I sent him a video of me just crushing a load 8, and I sent it to him, and I was like, check this, it loads great, I'm still getting the timing down, on pumping it and whatnot, and he's like, I thought that would be faster. And I was just like, what a douche.
Oh, dude, and I was just cracking up, like sending texts like this whole time, just really enjoying myself. And if Aaron would ask me, Aaron Hayes would ask me a question about the match. I know, Aaron and Garrison are friends, they're teammates. Mm-hmm. Aaron Hayes asked me a question about the match. I'd tell him, and I'm like, don't tell Garrison.
Of course he would tell me.
Yeah. Right. So I put I figured he would, but it was still part of the disinformation campaign. It was funny. But I put a video out of one time of Mike Griswold and I practicing the pistol spinner. Aaron text messaged me. He's like, do you think there's going to be a pistol spinner? I was like, dude, there's been a pistol spinner each of the last 2 years, and probably every club match I've ever shot at SoCo. So, yes, there will be pistol spinner. And don't tell Garrison.
See, I was here last year, so I had already there was some stuff I already knew that was going to be there. Actually, I think last year there was like 4 spinners, and so when I showed up,
there was a dual
there was
shotgun
this
spinner.
Weird dual
there was
shotgun
a rifle spinner
spinner
and a pistol spinner.
Yeah, and the pistol spinner, I did practice
last year.
I did practice this year, the pistol spinner.
Me too.
And I found it really difficult to get it over at because I think last year I thought it was at like 15, 20 yards.
Uh-huh.
And it was really hard to get it over with a Patrol
Oh,
pistol.
really?
I found I had trouble. Like I was like double tap, and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to run out of ammo.
So I've been shooting club matches the last couple months, pump shotgun or not. I've been shooting with 15-round mags and 30-round mags. Mm-hmm. So all my practice sessions, 15-round mags. I was nailing the spinner. Mm-hmm. And then how many spinners did we shoot, Nick?
2.
Well,
2.
0
and
pistol.
how many were pistol?
0.
Yeah. Whoops.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wish I had practiced more shotgun at 20 yards with a spinner than I did.
Yeah.
Pistol.
Yeah.
So I guess that asks the question: how many times did you guys short stroke? Because I know 4, and 2 of them are pretty critical for me. But
yeah,
I have. I want to say I probably did it. I'm going to go with 6.
6?
6 times, but some of them weren't as bad as others. Like some of them, it was just I just had to drive it forward a little bit more.
Sure.
I want to say that I did 3 club matches and probably a case and a half of ammo on pump, not 1 short stroke, and probably 8 during the match.
8?
Like I don't know what the heck was going on. Like I was just like going out of my mind or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty rough. But luckily, you know, it was never the so the typical Benelli short stroke is like you get the round out, but you don't get a new round in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a dead chamber. With that Stoker I have, it basically just would like kind of lock up, and you gotta, you know, muscle it.
The Nova, if you short stroke it sometimes, it will leave a hot round in the chamber and then bring another round back.
Double feed?
And it'll double feed, and the round will come up on the lifter, and the only way to clear it is to remove the trigger assembly. So I ran the entire match with a punch in my pocket, just in case I did this, because I did it twice in practice.
Yeah.
And then I did it one more time when I showed up. I was like, I just want to make sure it runs. I went to the Zero Bay on Friday, and
too.
I did it there, and I was like, oh no.
Speaking of the Zero Bay, so Nick, after this massive disinformation campaign, and you know, Garrison saying like, oh, you know, this is hurting my hand, and this is this, and I'm gonna modify the gun this way. Tell him like, you know, it's probably just you're not good at this. You know, it was just, you know, anything I could think of to mess with Garrison's mental game, and of course he's cracking up on the other end. But so he's got the CZ. He saws off a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh, you can't sell that now. It's secondhand. I mean, I guess I'll give you like $50.
Yeah. And he offered to buy it after that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's kind of a piece of crap now. It's only a paperweight, but I guess I'll take it. But anyhow, so we go over to the Zero Bay on that first day. We're shooting each other's pump guns, and he's like, all right, come on over here, and we'll shoot the pistol. And that CZ, the double pull on that CZ is way better than the pull on my Glock. And the single is like, oh geez. I was disheartened after that. I'm like, you know, I thought it'd be better, and then I walked away. But
it's like a 4.5 pound double action and like a 2 to a 1.5 ounce single action.
I've got Cage Gunworks kits in all my CZs.
Do you really?
They are the from what I could tell by doing a whole lot of research, they seem to be the cat's meow when it comes to CZ stuff.
Mm-hmm. Trigger stuff for sure. Yep.
Yeah, well, and they've got like pretty much the production market. I mean, EAA I think is a big player in that one too. But as far as like production pistol and USPSA, there's a ton of CZs out there.
Yeah, when I made a phone call to a local guy, he was just like, yeah, he shoots a lot of USPSA, and he was like, yeah, you have to run a CZ. Like, it's the thing. Because I was like, do we shoot a Glock? Do I shoot this? So I spent a lot of time, him and Han, about that. No. And then once I got it, I was like, he's like, all right, now do this. Right. And I even took it a step forward. They just had Cajun Gunworks just had a kit, and I was like, what's the biggest kit here? Done. Right. I was listening.
What's the most expensive?
Yeah.
That must be the best.
That's pretty much how I did it. I put their reach reduction kit in too.
Reach reduction?
Yeah, it takes the double action in by 0.5 millimeters.
Oh, okay.
So there's basically
0.5 millimeters?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, so
it's like several stacks of paper.
Okay, but what it does though, it allows so there's basically another screw on it, and it basically allows you to take out any slop before it starts moving the trigger, components on the double action, which I loved.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah,
the single action press on that thing was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Dave. Now that I know you like it, price just went up.
Trade you a Stoker for it.
No, it's covered in blood.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll clean it off.
Yeah, I appreciate
that. Get some
that.
Clorox wipes. Good stuff. All right, so the preparation. Nick, I know what your preparation was. I saw the night before you're pulling your scope off your rifle and putting on a MRO.
Yes, and this first half of this year I've been busy. I've moved across the country, and I've had a lot going on, so I haven't shot in 4 months, got here.
Yeah, I think the last time you shot was last time we shot together, which was 4 months ago, and you were shooting open division.
Yep. So it was interesting. But
yeah. Got your zero right before going to the first stage?
At 35 yards. So, yeah.
35 yards is all they had over there?
Well, they were running that side stage.
Oh, that's right. So
I should have gone the day we got here.
Yeah.
But no, oops. I walked stages and drank beer instead. So.
I regret nothing.
Yeah. That's a winning plan right there.
We'll get a zero tomorrow. Let's go drink beer.
Well, it showed. So,
biggest piece of advice I've ever been given in this sport is, what you show up to a match with. always show up with a 0.
Yeah.
Yep. That was all. One match I went to, I thought my 0 was way off, which it was. It was like 6 inches to the left. Don't know if it got jarred in the bag or whatnot. I believe his Lance Dingler came up. He's like, "Hey man, you know what you come to always with a match? Always come with a rifle 0." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, Lance. Appreciate that."
Lance is good for those zinger wisdoms.
Mm-hmm. But and you know what? There's always truth behind him.
There is.
I've known Lance pretty much since I began. You know, we're just kind of acquaintances, but since he was in the club when I first started, and so I've seen Lance I've tried to pick up as much information from him as I can. So
Yeah, he one time when I had a jam on my shotgun gave me the bit of advice: shiny side goes backwards. It's like, that was really helpful. Probably would have been more helpful before I started this stage, but thank you.
Yep.
Was that here?
No, that was in Omaha. You were shooting with me, though.
Because I think I made fun of you last year for doing that, and then I did it here like an hour later on the all shotgun stage.
Yeah, because we did that. Or that happened in Omaha. Remember when we were
Yep.
shooting with them and Curran and stuff? And I must have loaded it backward on my caddy and just threw it in there.
That's
and
the
I looked
death
down.
jam of death jam.
I looked down. I saw what happened. And I'm like, all right, 5 FTs. Here we go. Ditched that thing. Moved on to the pistol. So
there's only one way to get them out. And that's
Pocket knife?
Pocket knife.
Yeah.
Stab it up through the hole and rip it forward.
yeah, I figured if I did that on the clock, I would lose a hand. Actually, I didn't have my pocket knife at that time or something like that. I made the correct decision.
I just remember when I did it here, I tried to stay ahead of it with loading, and 8 or 9 rounds later, it caught
you
me.
knew it was in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
saw
see, I
it
didn't
as
know
I
it
was
was in
pushing it in.
Oh,
I'm
really?
Like, oh no, here we go. So I tried to stay ahead of it, but nope.
The worst part is when you do that, like you hope it's like on an empty tube and it's like the second round, but
Yeah.
usually it's 9 times out of 10 it's like the last round on a full tube.
Yep.
And you're like, oh
Yep.
crap.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good times. So, Garrison, when did you decide that you were going to shoot Patrol Division?
I'm trying to think when there was some there was some thought talked about it probably about 2 months through. It's basically when I started talking to you about a week and a half before you found out is when I had made the swap, and then
So this is probably about 2 months ago, right?
yeah, probably about 2
Okay.
and a half months ago. I did a lot of prep work coming up to it. I've never shot a pump actually in my entire life.
Right.
My dad gave me a semi-auto when I was a kid, and that's basically all I've had since then. So I did a lot of prep work with the pump, obviously with the CZ, getting it ready. Did a lot of stuff with Highland Lakes ammo, getting it the right ammo for the right gun. For my 3-gun, my 2011, I shoot their 3-gun load, which is a little light for that CZ. So, I'm basically
Cycling-wise?
Yeah, cycling-wise. I could have probably messed with the springs and cut them down and got it to work. It actually ended up working like the week before I left. I guess all the springs, the gun had broken.
okay.
But I was like, I don't want to risk it. But so we did a little tune-in to the ammo, so to get it to the gun, and then I just worked on learning a red dot on my 2A rifle, and I went. I was really looking at because last year this only went out to 200 yards, so I wasn't putting much thought into long distance.
So that is one of the reasons I decided to shoot Patrol Division.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is only 200 yards.
It had a factor too, because I was like, man, that's so much to get ready for. Learning how to shoot a red dot on long distance, which the Vortex has a BDC, which made long distance somewhat easier.
Yeah, the BDC turret.
We had some environmental issues that made our lives a little harder. I was like, okay, so I don't have much long distance, so I don't have to learn as much long distance. So I felt I was taking on so much. This was a good match to play with a red dot more than say like
for sure.
Vortex or Blue Ridge or something else. That's
and honestly, that's why I shot it. And so when Kevin announced that there were going to be targets out to, I think he said less than 400 yards was his initial
350,
thing.
I think, is what it came out to.
It came out to 350, but I think his initial communication was less than 400 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh shit,
Well,
because I shot limited when I first started too, like Nick did, but growing up here, not growing up, but growing up in 3-gun here in Colorado, we don't have anything past 200 yards. And I've said it on the podcast 1,000 times, and I know some people get tired of it, and I don't care. Go to hell, because it's true. But running the Huey, I'm like, cool, no problem. Here we go.
Now, does the
targets out to 400 yards.
Does the Huey have different dots in it, or is it just like holdover?
So it has a 1 MOA center dot,
Okay.
and then a different MOA circle around it that I can't remember. But it does have a triangle at the bottom, which is for like a 7-yard side offset.
Mm-hmm.
It's intended as a law enforcement mill optic, and I think it shines in that arena.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Spitfire is the proper 3-gun optic.
I would agree. I've watched Aaron Hayes shoot it pretty much all year, and I'm almost certain I can say this with it being fact that every division every match that he has shot with it, he has won with it. So
the etched reticle is where it's at.
Yeah, the etched reticle is where it's at. I never turned mine on. Like I just shot it dark, and it's perfect. And then the BDC turret, I did a lot before I come here. Once he announced there was going to be long distance, on trying to decide was holdover better or was it could I just dial and then aim dead center, and that turret makes it a wonderful addition.
It's funny, we were talking about that, and you were saying, well, holdover or dial, and I thought dial would be the right thing, so I told you holdover. And then you decided dial would be the right thing, and I was like, I really think the right way to go is holdover.
I
like, this went deep, Nick.
He was trying to play these psychological mind games, but I was kind of reading through. I posted that on my social media, and I don't know if you noticed, but Nate Stakowitz, is shooting a lot of limited this year, and he said holdover, and I was like, man, if Nate knows something, maybe I should figure this out.
Yeah. So once I heard that there was long range targets, I called up my buddy Chad Torres, who was RO in Stage 5, and he's a decent limited shooter. He went and shot Vortex Shooter Source and like kicked butt and limited. It was great, but he's a holder. So we messed around with dialing and holding during a practice session, and we were shooting 10-inch targets at 400, 500, and 600 yards with paper targets at 300 yards. And we found that the dot, since it's a 3 MOA dot, would cover those 10-inch targets. So
that is a problem.
Yeah, so when you're holding, now you can split the dot if you're like hold half dot high, half dot, or make an 8-ball or whatever, or figure 8. But if you're not doing that, you can't. Huey obviously can't dial, so it was never an option. So it was just like learning the holds. And the holds weren't that bad. They weren't nearly as bad as I thought they would be. And it's interesting shooting the 1X coming from TAC Ops, where TAC Ops, like every little movement you make shows up in the reticle, and you're like, okay, well now I'm going to hold, right on the edge of the plate. Oh, it was that far out. Now I'm just going to hold like 2 inches more, where with the dot, it's like so coarse that, your corrections are also coarse.
Yep.
So it makes it much simpler actually to shoot. And that 1 MOA dot I thought was actually really helpful on the long range.
So I tried the holdover thing. I tried to learn it.
Yeah.
And I struggled with the dot and space land thing.
Yeah, it's tough.
And Texas, the wind never stops blowing.
Yep.
So I also struggled with like the dot like off to the side to hold the wind, and then I learned dialing was just easier for me.
And especially because there's no vertical or horizontal reference point in the reticle, because it's just circles and circles, right? The cool thing about the UH-1 Huey is that it does have a dash on top, a dash at 3 and 6 o'clock, and then the triangle at 3 and 9 o'clock, and then the triangle at 6 o'clock. So you have some sort of vertical and horizontal reference there that you can play with, which helped out, on the long range, especially with holding. But the wind wasn't bad enough to really need anything but a
No, I think that valley protected the wind a little bit. When we shot it in the evening, I couldn't even tell you where my impact was on most targets. We shot it late in the afternoon. The sun was in your eyes, and it was tough.
Oh yeah, it was tough. That was tough. One of the weird things was one of the targets looked like it was lit up, like it had like a big LED light aiming at us.
It was that magneto speed. That target flasher.
Yeah, it was the magneto speed that was getting caught by the sun, the position of the sun, and then the gel that works like the fiber optic to send the light from the flasher from behind the target into the front of the target, was catching the light and sending it right to the shooting positions.
Oh, yeah.
That was a trip. Mm-hmm. It was bright as heck, too, Nick.
Oh, yeah. It was. It looked like someone was holding a big spotlight down there shining right at you. So,
yeah.
You know, we kind of looked at it with binos to kind of gauge where it was at, and it was at the bottom of the target. So you kind of get your holdovers from there. But
see, by the time I shot, it was gone. Because I was like, okay, just aim above the silver thing. And it was actually, when it was gone, it was actually harder to find the target. I was like, where is it?
I wish that silver thing would come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun to deal with. So, you know, we shot out to 350 yards. We had 320-yard targets, 300-yard targets, 120-yard targets on the long range. Mm-hmm. Everything else was like, you know, touching distance, which was perfect for a 1X optic. So I wonder about the guy that shot the 3X, because the only stage that would be an advantage was 8 and maybe stage 2, which we shot out to like 170 yards.
Was that Richard?
Yeah.
He won stage 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
good for him.
I mean, it apparently worked.
Apparently there's an advantage there, but what about the other stages, though? That's what I want to know is, like, how was the all-rifle stage 4, which is very close paper, some small steel in the back of, like, a 40-yard bay. How did that look through a 3X optic? That doesn't seem
I
like
probably wouldn't want to shoot that.
Hell no.
refresh me. Can you run offset irons?
No.
Cannot.
No. They had to be co-witnessed. If all backup sites had to be co-witnessed.
Okay. Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah. Well, it's a police thing.
Is it?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
like
most people carry backup sites, right?
Yeah, in case your optics goes down, they
Right.
take it off. You still have things. At least that's what the tactical people tell me. So, not to bag on them. I mean, I'm sure that has a purpose in life. I play a game, so
Yeah,
Right.
there's like a 1%, and that 1% never exists in this game.
Yeah.
So
2 is 1, 1 is none thing.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so we're waiting on squads to finish, waiting on scores. Garrison's got a little smirk.
No, I can't. I don't want to speak about it.
Okay,
We don't want to jinx it just yet.
Garrison doesn't want to jinx it, so let's look forward to next year. If you're coming back to this match, they hold Patrol Division again. Are you going to shoot Patrol Division again, Nick?
I may, yeah. You know, I'll probably go back to open the rest of the year and next year, but I thought it was fun enough just to do it once a year, to come out and, you know, change it up a bit.
Mm-hmm. Even the big match format doing it?
Yeah. Well, because I'm not shooting here locally anymore, it'd be the only time I could get out here to do it, unless Patrol Division takes off across the country. Right. Which I don't know if I see it doing it or not. But
I don't either. There's a lot of curmudgeons that don't want to try new things. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think, Garrison? You shoot it again?
I would shoot it again. There's a few things I would want discussed beforehand. Maybe we can make some.
So let's say first, before we say that, this is a test year, right? So the feedback from people who shot it, Kevin is going to consider for any changes next year. So we have that opportunity.
Really, my only thing is maybe I'm not so worried about the pistol 15 rounds, because if you just said no limitations, I mean, I think my CZ mags hold 22, 23 maybe, because I have a base bezel on the end. So that might be a little much, but I would like to see the 8-round cap go away. And if it's still a pump at 8+1 but no cap, and I can run a 12-round tube, like, you know, that would be – I would like to see that, yeah.
Excuse me. I think that the model has some sort of validity for changing limited, making limited more different than TAC. But I don't think that'll happen just because, again, people don't like doing new things.
I mean, there was a good number of shooters in each limited and patrol, so there's obviously a need for, or not a need, but a desire for both divisions. So it was I don't know. I had fun doing it. I had more fun. Dave knows I kind of hemmed and hawed coming up here on because I just couldn't get the pump right at first, which I ended up doing okay in the match with it, but. I hemmed and hawed, but once I started shooting it, I was like, "This is actually really fun." Like, this is.
Yeah, so we had 29 patrol, 18 patrol, 29 limited, and then open division had 26. So probably half. There's a little more than half the participation, but that's pretty good. for
first year.
First year
I
of
think,
a,
yeah. I mean,
a brand new division that requires.
I mean, that's impressive.
It is impressive
Because usually
it's quite the accomplishment.
Usually it's like 5, and sometimes they're even at some matches the smaller divisions, and let's use heavy for example because it usually seems to be the one I always notice. Like, you'll have a heavy at a match, and they'll be struggling to even have that division in the match because not enough people sign up. So you'll usually see a call out on some of these matches says, "Hey, if nobody shows up for heavy, we're moving everybody." And so that's impressive that it's for the first year that there's 18 people in it.
That's why I always laugh when they have heavy irons and heavy scope. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Well, just diluting it a little too much there.
And I'm going through the list, and there's probably 10 names on here that I recognize to be somewhat local that may have shot Patrol already in a local match. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and honestly, like I was shooting air quotes Patrol Division in 2 other club matches that we have that don't recognize Patrol Division, so it just put me in limited, right?
Right.
But I wanted to get the reps and the practice in doing it. It was fun, for sure. I am looking forward to shooting a match next weekend and not pumping, which will be fantastic.
Oh, man, my 2011's coming out of the safe,
and
I'm going to work next weekend.
All right, so let's talk about the pistol real quick, speaking of 2011s. Mm-hmm. So there's a contingent of people that want 2011s recognized in Patrol Division. Mm-hmm. And then
I might have been one of those people.
You might have been one of those people. Yeah, it's all the people with 2011s, right? Mm-hmm. And Chance Lenzillo is one of the most vocal ones because he wanted to shoot pump or shoot Patrol, but he didn't want to shoot or didn't want to get a new pistol. So if you take a step back from what you did to like the spirit of the division, is buying a CZ Shadow, which MSRP is for $1,700.
Well, I think it's $1,500.
$1,500.
$1,700 is the full-blown Cajun Gunworks one, like buying it from them.
That's what I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you sent me that link to that one. So $1,500 and throwing $200 in parts at it or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, now you've got like a full-blown race pistol. Like, does that fit the spirit of the rules?
I took the spirit of the rules and like wadded it up, and
no, I understand. Like once the rules are the rules, let's game them as hard as we can. But
I tend to be.
If we're talking about a new rule set,
I play. I mean, this is a game. I do play it try to play it to the highest level. Mm-hmm. So
my wallet just couldn't game it as hard as you did.
And I agree. Mine's going for sale. My wife is
again $50, man. I'll take it.
My wife's like, we can build that gun, but we're gonna sell it afterwards. Like, I was like, and now I'm like looking in my safe for other things to sell because I actually do like the CZ. Probably it's no 2011 by no means, but it is probably the closest thing to it. Like if you compared a Glock 34 and a CZ Shadow 2 tricked out, they're leaps and bounds different.
Which we can actually go do that at the Zero Bay when we're done here. But so another one that was on my radar though was the only reason I didn't choose it was because I couldn't find as many parts for it. Was the SIG X5? Oh
yeah,
striker gun,
flat trigger, shaped kind of like.
And it's a air quotes race gun, right?
Yeah. So I looked at that, but they don't. I couldn't really find a company that makes like a nice drop-in trigger kit or something for it, so I didn't have time to send.
Yeah, it was pretty much like send off to Gray Guns or something like that.
Who does those?
The only one I know of is Gray Guns, and I don't have any experience with them, but understand that he's like the dude for SIG, which is kind of weird. There's a dude,
right? Yeah, you would think there'd be more.
Yeah, especially how many SIGs you see out there. Mm-hmm. Well, and that is the particular reason I think that there is a DASA, contingent there is because of the SIG P220 something or whatever. Mm-hmm. But
there's a lot of double action, single action guns
in law enforcement.
A lot of them.
Yeah, but I don't know when you allow. I don't know. It just seems like so far from the intent of the division, right?
Oh, it was definitely far from the intent.
Yeah,
I mean, it was far.
Yeah, it is. So if going forward there is like an adjustment to the rule set to accommodate for that and get it back to more of the intent, how would you word that?
I mean, I would think that would be very hard to do because at what point can you say, oh, you can't modify this, you can't modify that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to quickly – your Glock is you know – you
Oh,
can
yeah.
modify a Glock a lot too.
Dude, if you spec Glocks for this division, any Glock will do, then people are going to complain about my Glock.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just how it is.
I mean, Glocks are great guns. There's plenty of high-level shooters, Nick Atkinson being one of them, who can run a Glock probably faster than a good portion of the field in 3-gun. So, it's hard to say. Like, how can you limit that? Can you be like, oh, no trigger parts, no slide cuts, no stippling, no? It's like
exactly.
After that, you might as well say, well, you have to bone stock, and then you're going to have equipment checks.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to have to look at this. And
yeah.
be like,
See, that's the hard part is having equipment checks. One of the suggestions I heard was just say striker pistols only, so you eliminate DASAs. That's tough because of all the SIG, P2, whatevers that are in circulation in law enforcement.
Well, I shot a CZP9 for this match, which is it's a polymer pistol, but it's hammer fired.
Right.
But I would put that up against close to the Glocks. I used to shoot Glocks back in the day and stuff too. It's just it seems to be pretty much the same to me.
Yeah.
Now this one's got a bunch of parts in it and stuff, so it's a little different. But.
Yeah.
So where do you go from that? Some of the SIGs that are polymers that are hammer fired.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you start limiting things. Like if you say there's a minimum weight on the trigger, like it's got to be a minimum, weight.
Then you're talking tech inspection.
Now you got tech inspections. You got all these things, and it's like it adds a whole lot more logistics onto the match.
I totally understand. Is there a simple way to do it?
No. There's not a simple way to do it.
What about the law enforcement that carries double stack 2011s?
Yeah, I mean, Texas has
Texas actually apparently has quite a few of them.
I'm under the impression and that there are a few SWAT teams maybe somewhat in my area that carry those 2011 tacticals.
Chance's sheriff apparently. I'm maybe misremembering that, but apparently there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of small departments that get to choose their own guns too.
And so I would love to shoot a 2011, but I totally understand. I do
but
feel
now you're talking.
I do feel that's stretching what.
Yeah,
I get why they're not allowed because, I come out with my Hayes Custom Guns full custom 6-inch sight tracker. And now the guy that has your base level Glock is way advantaged.
Disadvantaged.
Way disadvantaged. Sorry, misspoke.
Right. What do you think, Nick?
I don't like the idea of it, to be honest.
Adding 2011s?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm good with where we're at right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So this is what happens in any sort of race thing is people just migrate to what is the highest dollar best solution. So if this continues and there's, say like 3 to 5 years of history of Patrol Division, everyone will be shooting CZ Shadow 2s.
Or some kind of CZ, I would imagine. It the double action is once you start working them down, it's like nothing.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, that double action pull on your CZ is way nicer than triggering on my Glock.
Yeah. So you even out of the box, I was impressed with the double action pull, and it's as easy to get it down as changing a hammer spring. Like you don't have to go as full crazy as I did. People put light hammer springs in them, and they immediately go down by a pound and a half.
Yeah.
So,
all right, we didn't finish the circle, so I would shoot this one again for sure. It's fun shooting a new division. It's cool to do something different, outside the box. Get an opportunity to test new optics and things like that. So I would for sure shoot it again. I'll probably continue to shoot it when I come down here to shoot SoCo club matches. I'll probably go back to my semi-auto for shooting other club matches, just because I want the extra capacity in the semi-auto. So, all right, guys, we I think we covered everything that we came here to cover. Garrison just refreshed practice score here.
I haven't refreshed practice score. I'm looking at my secret agent. He's sending me
Oh
text.
yeah, we've got several Patrol Division shooters still shooting right now. So we're talking about this before the scores are final. Nick,
Yes, sir.
start with you, buddy. Final thought. Anything you want to add or tell the audience about Patrol Division?
Not really. I kind of enjoyed it. It's simple division. I have a lot of that stuff at home that I never get to shoot, so that's why I came out to shoot it. And I think it will get a lot of people started to come in and shoot, and they don't feel like they got to buy a lot of gear and stuff. And I, at least around here, hope it sticks around and see how far it grows.
Yeah. One thing that I would recommend though is that if you've got all that stuff and you're going to come out and do it, investing in like some ELS belt gear would be good because you can borrow a lot of equipment. I lent a few magazines and MCS mag pouches to one of the competitors out there because he was concerned about having enough magazines. He just didn't have enough magazines because he's getting into this, so he only has like 3 magazines. It's like, bro, I got a box full. I'll be happy to help you out. Oh, you need mag carriers? You got ELS? Here you go, buddy.
Right.
So that's one thing I always say is like, if you can borrow gear from other people, then you can make it happen. And if you got like a buddy or something like that you guys are shooting similar pistols or similar gear, you can lower the investment too. Especially if this is going to be like a once a month and then once a year. Once a month club match and a once a year major match. That's probably a good route to go.
Yeah, years ago when we started really getting heavy in this, and we being the Hayes Custom Guns guys, we all went to ELS for that reason. Like we could swap stuff left and right, and so I highly recommend ELS. I have ELS on tech locks because I don't use the ELS belt. I use a CR Speeds belt, but I put my ELS on tech locks so I can slide them around and take them off easily. So, I highly recommend that. So if you do get ELS, it's as easy as finding someone on the range that has it. Like me, I will loan you the shirt off my back if I have to. I mean, that's just part of the gig. Yeah.
Yeah, someone just stopped me when we were driving up here, and I was like, "Hey, do you have any 55 grain ammo?" It's like, I need every round I have in this can, but here you go. Bring back the rest.
See, yeah. I mean, when we come to the matches, I bring way more Highland Lakes ammunition than I need to shoot the match. So, and if there's ever anybody that ever needs it, this going forward, just come find me. Just say hey.
As far as the division goes, I think you nailed it, Nick, as far as it being like super new guy friendly when you put it in that context, because I always think of it like where I am now versus where I started. But when I look back at when I started, and you knew me when I started shooting up at Weld County, right? You've been shooting there for quite a while, and my M4 with an aim point on it, my Mossberg 500 pump shotgun, and my Glock 17 all fit this division.
Yep.
I would be overjoyed to have a division where I could go and shoot with all that stuff and then compete with people shooting like stuff, and then one gamer dude from Texas that comes up and
Dave, you provoked me.
Pistol. Oh no, I didn't. This is Fantasyland where it was like Dave 5 years ago or 6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, that one guy. Curse that one.
But so what I'm saying is I do see a lot of value in the division for that goes, and it'd be nice to see if it picked up in other places too. So it's kind of cool. I also will say that I found that you mentioned Highlands Lake ammo like 3 times, so it reminded me that I took advantage of their match ammo delivery at the last possible moment to get the ammo made and delivered. And you and Jared showed up with like giant heavy boxes, and you're like, "Here you go." I'm like,
yeah,
cool.
You ordered 5,000 rounds a week before the match.
I did, because I was like, well, if I need 250 for the match, I need 250 for all the rest of the year for every match I'm going to shoot. I might as well just buy it now.
Oh,
they're going to bring it here.
No, that's why we did it. That's the whole point. We're trying to save people money, and I get it. I spend a lot of money in this sport. $1 saved is $1 saved.
Yeah, for sure. And when you start talking about like multiples of 9mm, which is how you should think about everything, you know, when you go buy that soda from the gas station, like this is X amount of 9mm. You know, that's that definitely helped out. So big thanks to Jared for coming through on that one, even with super short notice. So I think that's a good place to enter, guys. Let's chill out here. Nick will go find you a Mexican beer that you can drink, and we will wait for scores.
Sounds good.
I will be intently watching my phone.
Yeah, good shooting with you guys.
It was a great time, Dave. Yep. I will definitely enjoy the camaraderie.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. You know what I enjoyed is the crap talking leading up to this, Garrison, and you know I haven't seen Nick in like 4 months, so I was totally pumped. I'm like, Nick's gonna shoot with us, and then you and I have been talking crap, and then we just had a ball on the stages. So good times, guys.
Absolutely.
Sure. I really, really do appreciate you. Squadding with us. I know it was a pain in the butt.
I'm pretty sure the range master and the match director were kind of getting sick of us being squatted together, but that's all in good fun, you know.
We should go find some Mexican beers for them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Hey, no problem, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed that interview. When we recorded this podcast, it was before the end of the match, and as you heard, Garrison didn't want to jinx it, but he did pull out the win. So congratulations to Garrison, England, on a well-earned first-place finish in Patrol at the Colorado 3-Gun Champs. Well done, my friend. Also, we learned during the awards that this is the last year that match director Kevin Travis will be hosting the Colorado 3-Gun Championship. This is a huge bummer and a big loss to the Colorado practical shooting community as a whole. Kevin put on 3 great championship matches and dozens of club matches. So thank you to Kevin for all your years of service to our community and for making it better, and hope to see you on the range soon. After listening to this podcast, what do you think of Patrol Division? Would you shoot it at a major? Would you like to see the division at your local club? Head on over to 3gunshow.com/episode 212. Leave a comment there with your thoughts on the topic and check out the links to things that we discussed in the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite. The original Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1 8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting TAC Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. Quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content, so you will always get the very latest. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.